What is up, everyone? It is Sunday, October the 8th, and today I'm doing a little bit of a confusing thing. I'm recording this clip to introduce you guys to the video. The reason I'm doing this is because this video was originally recorded in, I believe, January or February 2017, and then there were various updates over the next couple of months, and there hasn't been an update over the last sort of 3 or 4 months. So I've completely forgotten the majority of this video, but I want to get it out to you guys because I want to continue making changes to this setup. So I want to start a new part. So what I'm going to do is record this clip, bung it in, then we're all going to watch this together, and then I'll come in with another clip at the end and update you guys in current time as to what's going on. If that makes any sense, hopefully it does. We're going to do a little bit of a back in time thing now to earlier this year. Obviously this setup is very, very different to what you've seen in vlogs and stuff like that. But yeah, I did promise that I would show the transition from the old TV stand, which looks incredibly awful now that I'm looking at it compared to the new one. So a transition from then and to the new setup is one hell of a change. And yeah, hopefully you guys can come along for the ride of this pretty long video. So enjoy, and I'm going to enjoy as well, because I can't remember half of it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the next part of the home entertainment setup. I think we're at part 4 now. I think so. So yeah, we're pretty deep into this series, and you guys in this part, you guys are going to be so damn proud of me. Now, you're not looking at much at the moment. You're really not. It's just the same old setup, but there is a huge, huge difference. And this first sort of 10 minutes of the video probably is going to be me explaining things, and I've had a few ideas and your comments have really helped me out, and I'm just so thankful for all of them, really. And yeah, a big thanks for your feedback, guys. Just between the comments and chatting to a few people and looking at the setup and thinking about a few things, we're going to be making some drastic changes. So first of all, let's chat about the big obvious change. Here we have the 4 Samsung floor standing speakers. They've got their bases and the speaker itself, and of course the well, these are the bases, and then you've got the speaker and the sort of spacer bit. You can't put the speaker directly onto the base to make short little speakers. You've got to use these tall little bits. So anyway, here are the Samsung speakers that I've been using for front, left, right, and also using for surround. And if you guys come over here, you can now see that all that's left on the setup is the smaller bookshelf style speakers for surround. I can't actually remember what they are. I'll put the model on the screen right now. And also we have my Technic speakers for front, left, right. Now, between using the setup and the changes that I went through when the home theatre in a box stuff broke, when the Blu-ray player / amplifier / receiver broke, and between that and reading your comments, I discovered so many things. So let's have a quick rundown. Just to clarify, because a few people are still confused, I had a separate sound system. I'm so sorry for the dust, guys. Separate sound system. We have an amplifier here that was powering the Technic speakers. My turntable is connected directly to this amplifier, but also connected to this amplifier is this. This is an original home surround AV processor. This is a Dolby Pro Logic or Dolby Surround processor. It's a sweet bit of kit from the 90s. It also has a built-in amplifier for the surround channel, which is what those speakers were connected to. So that was the old school system. I played records and I played anything that had an old school Dolby Pro Logic, so VHS, N64, anything like that, through this system, and it sounded sweet as a nut. This does support a center channel, but I don't have one, so I had it in wide mode, which puts your center signal to your left and right at +3 dB, so it works out quite nicely with most mixes. This was a sweet system. Now, before I got this gorgeous Onkyo receiver, I had a Samsung home theater in a box Blu-ray player, as you guys will remember, and that powered the 5.1 system with a passive sub, the center channel, the front left right, and the rear left right. That sounded great for what it was, and it sounded great for the modern stuff. Considering the price I paid for it, and considering the general, you know, low quality, non-audiophile grade components, it was great sounding for what it was. When that broke, I migrated to using this old school system as the main system for the setup. And do you know what, guys? That performed so damn well that what happened was I put this in when I bought the Onkyo, connected it to all my Samsung speakers, and actually had worse sound. So when I initially put the receiver in, I was like, okay, I need to calibrate the system. The speakers sound very boxy, they sound very plasticky, they sound like cardboardy, horrible, throaty sound. And I was like, yeah, the problem here is this Onkyo is blasting out a whole lot of gorgeousness into disgustingly low quality speakers. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The home theatre in a box stuff is designed as a package. When you set it all up as one, it sounds great for what it is, but you cannot start swapping things out. You just can't. I've learned that from experimenting with it, it's really not an easy to integrate system. Granted, I haven't delved into fiddling with loads of EQs and stuff, but the speakers were just not nice at all. So I was sat here listening to films, listening to TV, listening to music through subpar plastic speakers while I was surrounded with nicer quality speakers, gorgeous 1981 Technics SB3030s and decent quality rear channels, much better than those Samsung ones. And I thought, hang on a second, this is backwards, like a load of you guys pointed out. So I took the speaker cables out the back of the Samsungs, plugged them into the Technics, bang, huge difference. I then got inspired, did the same at the back, bang, huge difference. Then I physically took the speakers away and put them on the floor over here, and then it looked much better, it sounded much better, and then I went onto eBay and I won a new center channel speaker, because as you guys may be able to see, we've got the Samsung center still, I'm afraid. This is by far not the worst speaker in the setup, by the way. I'd say this is the best speaker in the Samsung surround kit. You know, it sounds all right, but I've won a new center channel speaker for $4.99 on eBay, and I was really hoping that it was going to be here by today, but it's not, so I'll show you that in the next clip. We'll unbox it. It's a Technics to match the front speakers. Technics SB, can't remember the model number. Nothing to write home about, but a million years better than the Samsung. So, where does this leave us with the old school Dolby setup? Well, I've watched VHS tapes, I've played N64 through this new system, and I have to say, just like a lot of people pointed out in the previous part, it is surprising how well the Onkyo amplifier deals, the Onkyo AV receiver deals with those older signals. It just sounds gorgeous. VHS tapes with a hi-fi soundtrack through this setup sound gorgeous, really nice. So this is an announcement that I will indeed be retiring these two bits of equipment from this setup, which I know is going to kind of go against the whole cool twin system that I had going here, but it's just not feasible anymore. When I had a really crappy amplifier here, it was feasible because I needed it, but now I've got this gorgeous bit of kit, and I just don't need it, because this is a far better amplifier than this little one will ever be. And this is a great amp, don't get me wrong, but I could put it to use somewhere else along with this processor. I have no idea where. It could stay in storage for a very long time, but yeah, they're coming off the setup, folks. And if you're wondering about the turntable, the Onkyo has a phono input, so I will be plugging the turntable directly into my AV receiver, and then I'll get it through the Technics speakers, and I can do all channel stereo and get it through the rears as well. So absolutely gorgeous. I think it's going to sound great. That means I'll have a spare shelf on this rack. We'll soon fill that up. The VHS and Betamax VCRs are staying the same. So yeah, there's the speaker updates. Now then, you may notice that after I took away those tower speakers, let's have a little sit on the settee of wisdom so we can talk about the setup. I'll point the camera at the setup. What is going to happen with all this blank space? Well, I expect a lot of you will be very pleased to hear that I am retiring that 1980s TV cabinet. Now, I think it looks the bomb. I really like it. It's got a charm to it. And after I did the modifications to allow standing consoles on the side and taking out the chipboard backs to allow cables and stuff. It's just quite flexible and works really great. But I think I can put that TV stand to much better use up in the attic when I build my sort of retro man cave. That TV stand is crying out for a CRT. I'm going to put a CRT on it, going to hook a Super Nintendo up to it. We're going to do that up in the attic. That's one of the projects this year. So that's going up there. And I'm going to buy a new TV stand. I've got one in mind. It's very expensive, but I'm hoping to find something cheaper for second hand or find a good deal somewhere. I've got a TV stand coming that is going to incorporate the AV receiver, the Apple TV, the Wii U, the Blu-ray player to get it off the top of the speaker because I absolutely hate it up there, the PS2, the Xbox 360 and the two N64s that are on the floor over there. It will incorporate all of that and look stunning all at the same time, and also incorporate my new center channel as part of the cabinet so it doesn't have to sit on the bottom of the TV. So the new cabinet could be quite some time away, so until all of that comes, and that's going to be the real big change in this setup, let's just talk a few more little details in this introduction clip, this massive 15-minute introduction clip. Firstly, a quick note, just in case anyone's got a keen eye, yes, my dust caps have been pushed in. Eli has pushed them in. It's no big deal. If anyone's curious as to how to get these out, if you just get a Hoover pipe and you very, very gently move the vacuum pipe closer to the speaker and wait, and you know, it could be on low power suction or whatever, just wait until the suction pulls the dust cap out. I found that to be a very effective solution in the past when I've had people prod these in. I do have covers for these speakers somewhere. I have no idea where they are. They're lost, but as soon as I find them, I will put them back on. Now, I do have the LEDs on the back of this speaker. It looks quite good. One thing I don't like is it shines off the chair here. So when it's dark at night and I'm watching the TV out the corner of my eye, this whole corner is really quite bright and I'm not keen on that. So I may change up the LED system a little bit. I might get sort of like some LED bulbs or something and try and mount them on the back of the speakers and point them up in the corners. I've got no idea what I'm going to do, but that is okay for now. This end is a little different. The LEDs aren't mounted properly because there's one hell of a cable mess down there. As you guys know, I've now got 2 additional speaker cables run back here, which I will no longer use. They're obviously connected to this surround sound processor. They're handy. I'm going to leave them there just in case I ever want to do 7.1 in the future, but 7.1 is totally pointless in this room. You really need to have distance between your seating position and the back of you. You know, if I was to put small speakers here, it really, really wouldn't be effective. One more quick note about these surround speakers, and I'm hopefully going to try and demonstrate this. If I sit here on the sofa, you'll probably be able to tell that if I pan the camera around, that speaker is completely blocked by the cushion of the settee. So when I sit in my position here, I can't hear the left surround. And when Jess sits there, she can't hear the right surround because they're blocked by the sofa. So what we're going to do is once that corner is tidied up and I get Jess some kind of table / shelving area for all of her knitting stuff, I'm going to move the 2 speakers forward about 2 or 3 inches just so that they clear, just so the tweeter clears the cushion. So maybe if the speaker comes to about here, and I think that'll be the sweet spot. The stands are a little low, but the stands are great and they're not obtrusive at all. Intrusive, obtrusive, obstructive, I don't know. They're not in the way, and I really like that about them. So everyone, a little warning, I will be geeking out now quite a bit. I'm just going to talk a little bit about a couple of other things about the speakers, so feel free to scrub ahead if you're not an audio head, but hopefully a few of you will enjoy me listening to this. Enjoy me talking about this. Anyway, I spoke about the change from the Samsung speakers to the Technic speakers for quality reasons and for the depth of sound and all those reasons that I literally just spoke about. But let's talk a little bit more in depth. So one thing that I want to talk about, actually, before we I'll just pick one of these up now, why not? Let's chat a little bit about my subwoofer for a moment so we get a bit of context. In the last video, I spoke about the subwoofer going to sleep. I think it's a brilliant feature. The only thing I wish you could change the threshold for when it goes to sleep, because sometimes it goes to sleep when you don't want it to go to sleep, but for the most time it works out pretty well, and it works out even better now I've changed the front speakers. Why is that? Why do the front speakers make a difference to the subwoofer all of a sudden? Well, for those of you who don't know, when the subwoofer doesn't get a low frequency signal for a long period of time, it will go to sleep. And it needs a certain level of low frequency to wake it back up. Now, the wake up procedure is fantastic. It wakes up in way under a second. It is very quick to respond. So if you get an explosion on screen, you will hear the explosion through the sub. It's fantastic. Now, the reason why I'm really pleased with this upgrade to the Technics is because when the sub went to sleep, it would mean that all of a sudden, and this is with the old speakers, all of a sudden, and this was a massive problem with the setup, you'd get no low end at all. So your whole setup suddenly sounded like a tin can because the sub was doing all of the low end duties. It was doing sub bass, bass, any kind of bass you could imagine throughout the whole blinking low end spectrum. It was doing the lot. So if it went to sleep, it was a bloody nuisance. But now it's not a big problem. Why is that? Let's take a look at this speaker. Here we have one of the front speakers. It is tiny, lightweight, thin, plasticky, and look at the size of the biggest driver in it. You can see I'm pushing my thumb into the driver. It is minuscule. Look at that driver compared to the, well, the covers are on, but compared to this driver. So what I'm trying to say is these Technics, for multiple reasons, are much, much better at reproducing low end. Now that means that when I changed the speakers, I noticed at first a very small amount of difference, and I was a bit disappointed because I was expecting a lot of low end. But then I found this secret menu, and I'm going to talk you through this menu right now. It's not a secret menu, it's the speaker configuration menu. Speaker setup. Here we have it. So speaker setup menu, speaker configuration. This is the magic menu that made this entire change of speakers absolutely awesome. So first of all, let's go through the image on the side. This is a 5.1 setup. Obviously, this receiver is capable of outputting to a lot more speakers, which I'll show you in a minute, but we've got 5.1. In this picture, there are 2 subwoofers, which is lucky for them, but we're running 1 subwoofer. We've obviously got left, right, center, and surround. So we're all well and good there. Now, in the menu over here, we select no as a subwoofer, and for demonstration purposes I'm showing you that the front automatically becomes full band, and you cannot change the low cut or the high pass filter of the front speakers. Now this is because if you have no subwoofer, it sends all of the low frequencies to the front speakers, no questions asked. But if you select yes, because obviously we have a subwoofer in the setup, by default it defaults to 80 Hz. Why does it default to a low cut of 80 Hz? Well, apparently, according to this little bracket here, that's because it's the THX standard. Now, we're not going to get into the THX standard in this video. We're not going to start discussing requirements for a THX certified system. I basically have no interest, and I mean, at the end of the day, look at the equipment I'm using here. You know, we're not talking THX, but 80 Hz. This is a very interesting number for us because although these speakers will produce a very, very nice 80 Hz, if the subwoofer goes to sleep, there will be a noticeable difference. The whole system will no longer reproduce any frequency below 80 Hz, which is way, way too high. Because even if there are not low frequency demanding things happening on the screen, there are things that have a rich body of sound, a whole body of sound that need a little bit of backup from something below 80 Hz. Otherwise, the whole thing, as I said, sounds like a tin can. So the first thing I did was roll my front speakers right down to 50 Hz. And I tell you one thing, folks, between 50 Hz and 80 Hz, that little 30 Hz kind of region is an absolutely wonderful area. Something that I didn't get in the Samsung speakers is now being reproduced through my front, left, right, and THX certified or not, which obviously it's not. Apparently, you know, I need to be at 80 Hz. That, to my ears, sounds way better because now the sub can go to sleep. I still get low end through the front, left, and right. And then when there's a big, huge low end impact thing happening on the screen, the sub will wake up, or when it goes into music or whatever. Now, this brings me on to quickly discussing mixing. I've watched about 4 or 5, maybe 6 films on this setup with these speakers, and I don't know what the audio people are actually mixing to for the front speakers, but I'll tell you something, folks. 80 Hz cutoff at a THX standard, you're missing a lot of detail in front, left, right. There is a lot happening in film soundtracks between 50 and 80 hertz for the front speakers, and I'm not sure if they mix. You know, I'm not sure how they mix, put it like that. I've never spoken to anybody that mixes 5.1 or 7.1 for a film. But that stuff exists between that 50 hertz and 80 hertz. Now, I could roll down a little bit more. I could roll down to 40 hertz. That'd give me an extra 10 hertz. You're really getting into some proper low-end territory there. But there are a couple of reasons why I'm not down to 40 hertz on the front speakers. Firstly, if anything is playing back substantially at 40 hertz, the subwoofer will wake up, obviously. Therefore, that takes over the low-end duties. If I'm watching a film at high volume, I would probably not notice my front, left, right speakers distorting. These speakers are from 1981. I do not want to damage them for the sake of 10 hertz, so we will roll that back up and we will let the subwoofer do everything below 50 hertz. Now, let's quickly go down to, let's have a little look. Right, low pass filter of the low frequency effect. 100 hertz I've got it set to. At default, it's 120. In my opinion, between 100 and 120, that additional 20 hertz through that subwoofer is mud. It will depend on your subwoofer, but for me, that extra 20 hertz is pure, sloppy, brown mud. We do not want it. If I wanted to, I could roll it back to 90 hertz or even 80 hertz, but we do have a little crossover of 100 hertz. So we've got our front, left, right speakers cutting in at 50 hertz, and we've got our sub cutting out at 100 hertz. That means there is a 50 hertz crossover point. You know, there's a 50 hertz that the front, left, right reproducing and the sub is reproducing. So if there is something heavy happening in that 50 hertz region and the sub wakes up, there will be a noticeable, audible sort of increase. And yeah, that's something I'll look at after calibration. Maybe I'll roll my sub back to 80, but for now at 100 it is sounding fine. I may lose a little bit more mud if I roll it back, but 100 is where we're sitting for now. I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, the sub is doing those duties. And these speakers are quite big, so I am tempted to roll the sub back as far as it'll go, which is 80 hertz. And usually I thought it would go a little bit lower than that possibly, but I'm not really accustomed to these home cinema settings. I'm accustomed to commercial cinema, so all of the Dolby specs are different anyway. So it's quite interesting to see all of this because the crossover points and cutoff points are way, way different in a real cinema, I'll tell you that right now. But you're working with a totally different kettle of fish there. Quick point of note in this menu also, you can flip the phase of the subwoofer within the receiver, which is very, very nice if you wanted to do that. These three settings here are for speakers that I don't have. So this is the 7.1 setting. That gives you front back as well. As you can see, no front back, front back. You can control the low cut for all of these as well. The high pass filter, very nice. Also, some of the little virtualized additions to this receiver. It supports front high as well as front wide. They're not supported in the Dolby spec, but this receiver will try and sort of map things up there and that, but I'm really not interested in any of that right now. So let's go back up here and take a little look at my center channel. Obviously that's still at 80 hertz. There is no point sending this center channel anything lower than 80 hertz. This speaker is a heap of junk. Maybe it would get away with another 10 hertz, but right now it gives me clear sound. There's no body to the sound. It gives me clear sound. As I said, I think it's the best sound in the best speaker in the home theater in a box kit. At least with this Samsung kit anyway. I prefer it to the floor standards. And yeah, there's plenty of clarity there, no body, but I'll wait to fiddle with this setting when I get my new center channel. And surround also defaults at 80 hertz, but I rolled this back to 60 hertz for experimentation purposes. These are fairly big speakers as well compared to the Samsung speakers. They're by no means the same size as the Technics, which is a shame because ideally you should have the same speakers all the way around. But they've just got an extra 20 hertz to give a little bit more grunt from the back as well, because I was noticing surround was a little bit tinny. So extra 20 hertz to play with there. That's still in the experimentation phase. So all rambling aside, this is very basic territory at the moment. This is just the in point of all of the speakers in the setup, which is a very important starting point and something to get substantially right before continuing. But what I'm going to do, the next step now, is once I get the new centre, I can then calibrate the system, because finally I'll actually be using the speakers that I'm going to be using, at least for now. You know, I can always recalibrate when things change, but calibrate the system, take a listen, take a good couple of weeks to, you know, really get my ears in tune with the setup, and then go in and fine tweak the EQs to suit my needs as best for all of the different sources that I'll be using, which can be quite tricky. The one tricky aspect of this now is not only is this a home theatre setup, it is also my main hi-fi. So my personal tastes for hi-fi and film sound are very different, as I'm sure lots of people have that as well, but hopefully I'll find a nice middle ground. And this receiver is so flexible, you can select different things for different inputs anyway, but the overall speaker setup, the way in which the amplifier performs, is the same across the whole board, which is totally fine, obviously. I know I've talked your ears off at the beginning of this video. This is going to be a hefty part, I think, folks, and it will get more exciting. Now, what I'm going to do is wait for my new centre channel. When that arrives, I'll unbox it, show it to you guys, give you my first impressions, and then later on, when I get a new TV stand, we will get this entire setup on the new TV stand, new cable management, clean everything, dust everything, sort everything out, and make it look gorgeous. So for me, it's going to be quite a while until I see you again, but for you guys, it'll be less than a second. Well, everyone, my... What? What's funny?
Sorry. Him in the corner.
I finally received my new centre channel speaker. That's a knife, dude. You can't have that, okay? Is it nice? Yeah. Soft?
You guys look so cute together.
Anyway, the centre channel speaker has finally arrived, so we can get on with the unboxing. So, you ready, Eli? You ready to see what's inside?
Oh, mind your hands. No.
Right, here we go. One side. Two side. It's a little bit bigger than I was expecting.
He's fascinated. Ooh, what's in there, Ease?
Top. Okay.
Oh.
So, let's have a look, shall we, Ben? Ooh.
Banana.
It's not banana.
Banana.
It's here, it is.
Oh, God.
Dropped it already.
It's a good thing it's bubble wrapped. He's going to copy you, so watch him.
Oh, no.
Okay, should we dig it out, dude?
He's like, sorry, Dad, box.
Good boy.
You Ben?
I'm very lucky to have two glamorous assistants.
Oh. It landed by you. Oh no.
Well, lucky you're doing some entertainment, because I'm taking ages to unwrap this.
Unboxing of the baby. He's come to see what you got now.
Not the knife.
Oh my God, I didn't even see that.
Here it is. New centre speaker. What do you reckon, dude?
It's massive. Where's it
It
gonna
is.
go?
Sorry?
Where's it gonna go?
Well, the new TV cabinet will have a space for it.
Ah, yes, I forgot we're getting one of those.
Sort of here. But for now, by the way, folks, the model number is the Technics SBC14. I basically bought it because it was a fiver, and it's bigger than this one, and it's made out of wood. So that's the comparison. It's night and day, isn't it? Plastic.
What are you gonna do with the old one?
It's part of the system.
Ah, yeah.
I'll sell.
Eli's like, I can play with it now.
Getting the phone now. Hang on a sec, guys.
We'll just continue watching Eli.
Hello. How's it going, Lloyd? Alright?
Easy. Easy. Ah! No, Daddy's on the phone, babe. Yep, okay.
the laptop. The laptop that's open and on.
Eli! Eli!
Here we go. Let's plug it in. I'll sit there for now, that's alright, isn't it?
Is it blocking the TV?
Sorry?
Is it blocking the TV?
Is it blocking the TV?
What?
Is it blocking the TV?
That's what I asked you. I can't see, you're in the way.
Not from this angle.
No. Did they say no? No. No.
It works. Updates to come.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, that's cameraman duty.
You're headless there. Well, you keep standing up.
What?
You keep standing up.
Thank you for your help, guys. I really appreciate it. Eli's like, wow, that's bigger.
He's watching Horrid Henry now. He's sucked in by theme tunes and then he gets bored.
So everyone, it is late February, it's almost March, and I've just come back from work and I've decided to begin dismantling the entire setup completely out of the blue. And I think I remember the last thing I recorded as part of this series, so this is going to look really strange to you guys because I'd literally just got everything set up. But basically what has happened, and I'll explain in greater detail in the next clip, I've bought a new TV stand, and there are several reasons why I've done that, but I just wanted to record this clip now before I fiddle about anymore, just to show you the rat's nest. And this is with all of the attempts that you guys have seen in this series of me trying to cable manage and cable tidy this lot. It's just been nearly impossible with some of the things that I've wanted to get set up. So I'm going for a drastic change, and I'm super tired so I can barely talk, but going for a drastic change in here. And as I say, next couple of clips you guys will be much more updated because you'll be able to see what I'm doing tomorrow while I can actually think properly, but just getting a little bit of a head start now. So everyone, it is the next day, February 23rd, and you are looking at our brand new TV stand. We treated ourselves to a new TV stand for a few reasons. Reason number one is space. As you guys know, I've been struggling to plan this setup in such a way that there's enough space for everything. And second reason is because we wanted something with a back. This stand doesn't have a back, so it's very difficult to make it look neat and tidy. So this stand is a very nice, awesome quality. I'll tell you the model number right now. It is the Finewoods, the Alphason, I think that's how you say it, Alphason Finewood Soundbar FW1350SB. Now, I found this stand by looking for soundbar compatible TV stands, because when you buy one of those, you get a really wide and long top shelf, which is very handy. And I bought this one specifically because underneath the top wide long shelf, there were 4 additional shelves, so it was pretty much double what I have now in the TV stand. Another advantage was you could change the height of these shelves, so as you can see I've got this one up a little bit and this one in the middle position, so it can be really flexible. I wish there were a couple more places where you could put the shelves, because for instance my super thin Blu-ray player, if I could get this shelf up higher and put the Blu-ray player and Apple TV here, I could have a really nice big area for the receiver. But it's lovely. It's got cable management, as you can see. Sorry about the dust. Cable management that holds out the back, and it's got a nice sort of cable duct area at the back as well. If you just have a little look, it's very heavy, so I can't move it out to show you guys at the moment, but these are cable holes. And also, it's got nice wooden curved sides, so it is a gorgeous stand. I chose to put it together last night after I came back from work at pretty much 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, because there were so many pieces to put it together. I knew I couldn't do it while Eli was around. Now Eli's just been put to bed, and Jess has just put him up for a nap. He's having a little moan at the moment, but as soon as he well, not even as soon as he goes to sleep, literally right now, I'm going to begin tearing this apart to try and do the transfer while he is asleep, because this is such a mammoth task. It's very difficult to squeeze it in, and a whole day would have been handy to get it done nice and steady, but the thing is, I just really haven't had the time. It's a Thursday today, and I was on 12-hour shifts Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, so yeah, and the weekend is full as well, so today is my day to try and get things done. Once this is in place, I can do some additional wiring and things when Eli is awake. I just don't want to risk anything falling on him, or him, you know, walking on top of a plug or something. It's so much safer and nicer for everybody if he isn't around while I'm faffing with this sort of thing. So I'm going to shut up and keep you guys a little bit updated throughout the process, but I'll probably give you a better overview when I've got more time. And don't worry about the retro rack for now. This is a complete shambles also. That will get a load of attention in the next wave. And there's a courier van out there, and I am expecting something. Nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be underneath there, folks, in terms of dust. Just a little bit of a hoover and we'll be sorted. Only about 5 minutes has passed, so I've been fairly quick at tearing this apart. It's going to be a lot slower going back together though, and this place is a tip. But I've got a good feeling. I think it's going to be sweet once it goes back together. There's my TV, there's the old stand, there's the new stand for comparison. Night and day, really. I love this stand to pieces. I think it looks great. So I'll be putting it up in the nerd cave, up in the attic, for my 80s CRT TV setup, which is what it's much more suited for anyway. I will miss the drawer. The drawer is super handy. It's got all my N64 loose carts in it, as well as rumble packs and memory cards. But yeah, this is going to be so sweet. So guys, I was just halfway through wiring up some of these bits and bobs and making some good progress, and our new Blu-ray player arrived, which is awesome. I decided to get the Sony BDP S6500. We needed a new Blu-ray player. Well, we didn't really need a new Blu-ray player. The other one was sort of flickering weirdly every 40 minutes to an hour. And what we're going to do is give that one to my parents, because it still works fine other than the odd tiny bit of flickering that they probably won't even notice. We're going to give that to my parents so that we can lend them films, because they don't have a Blu-ray player. So if we buy a film and they want to borrow it and they have that player, it'll be ideal. And I bought this one as well because it's got fast start technology, or whatever it's called. It's got 4K upscale and all of this new stuff that we don't need, but I was looking at the fast start because that's one thing about my old one. It definitely takes a very long time to get a film up and running, so maybe this one will be a little bit different. Well folks, it is still a little bit rough and not everything is wired in, but we've got all of the basics wired in, and that is how our new TV stand is looking. And in my opinion, it looks way better. There's still a lot of work to be done, and I haven't even touched that rack yet, but as for the basics, this is looking awesome. The only thing is, I don't have any space for the subwoofer at the front where it used to be, so it's unplugged at the moment, which isn't a great loss considering we get quite a bit of low end through these front speakers. I don't mean I'm never going to plug it back in, I just mean it's not going to be plugged in at the moment because I don't know where to put it. I'll make space for it somewhere. But this is definitely one of the biggest updates in quite a while. Well folks, if you're still watching after all of that crazy audio talk, then well done. I know this part hasn't been the most in-depth part with wiring and things, but on the plus side, it's one hell of a change. And the reason why I want to get this video out to you guys now is because hopefully tonight I'm going to begin recording the next part, because I've got a big update. You guys will be pleased to hear that there's going to be a massive simplification to the entire setup. So in this video I simplified it by eliminating an entire audio system. We're going to simplify things once again. I'm going to order a couple of new things. Sorry folks, just dribbling all over the place trying to record a video. I'm going to order a couple of new things. I'm going to hopefully get my hands on some kind of Logitech Harmony remote to make my life a little bit easier, and just to make it easier for other people. For instance, my mum was staying here the other night, and yeah, I felt an extreme amount of guilt that anyone that isn't a geek would find it difficult to operate the TV. You know, how do you get sound, how do you get picture? So to be able to have a remote where you can just press watch a DVD and everything sets itself up would be absolutely ideal. So we're going to look into a few things like that, but I've got a major exciting change that I will reveal in the next video. So well done for sticking with me. I promise that the next part will be more interesting and hopefully less rambly about audio stuff. So I really do apologise for that big ramble there, but you know, it was a good change, it really was, and all of this time after, it's still a good change. It's a lovely system, sounds great. So thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you hopefully in not too much time with the next part. Hopefully in the next month or so. That would be really ideal. This side of Christmas would be fantastic. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.